All right. Good morning, folks. Hope you all doing well this morning. We're still dealing with this very impactful system that went through Kansas and Missouri yesterday. Is still going through there, right? And we have this lingering flooding threat today that is pushing the south and east here. All right. We zoom in a little bit. You can see the flooding threat overlaid with the severe threat here. Okay. Severe threat goes all the way up from northern Maine down in southern Texas, with excessive rainfall continuing here. Now, this is only good till 12Z. It'll change here pretty shortly. The day one outlook encompasses a large area here, but that's going to update to the day one outlook shortly. Well, this is the current outlook for flooding. And you see, overlaid with this, we'll take off the excessive rainfall outlook and the SPC, severe weather outlook. So you got some heavy rainfall and thunderstorms going down here in southern Texas. You still have a severe thunderstorm watch in the southern portion of the area here, right? So you also have some severe warnings as part of that with this system pushing the south and east. And you can see the flood watch overlaid on top of, not the flood watch, a heavy rainfall mesoscale escutcheon with heavy rainfall slowly pushing the south and east today. So in today's forecast, quite a little bit of a long intro there. We're going to talk about the excessive rainfall outlook next 5 days or so, severe weather potential, which is thankfully not as much as it was. Okay, and just a lot going on still. The people in this area really experience a variation, just a varying amount of weather, impactful weather here, even up into the northern part of the U.S. So let's get started here. So as always, let's start with the severe weather outlook for today. Thankfully, we have only a slight risk of severe weather, but quite a wide area, like I showed in the intro, going all the way from southern Texas up to the Canadian border. The larger marginal risk surrounding it through Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, up to New Hampshire, with a large area of thunderstorms here as well. Thunderstorms possible up here in Montana and Idaho, parts of Washington State, and a small portion of Oregon today. There's also a chance for thunderstorms here in Colorado again today as well. As part of this severe threat, we got some bookend tornado threats with a small 2% tornado risk here in the southern Texas, as well as up here in the upper Midwest, Ohio, New York State, here, parts of Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Not expecting strong tornadoes, maybe a few spin ups here, not too impactful today. Now, the hail risk, of course, looks like it encompasses most of the severe outlook area, with a chance for 2-inch hail down here, 15% chance of 2-inch hail down here within 25 miles of a given location, down here in southern Texas to the Mexican border, up towards parts of southern Oklahoma. And here's your whole wind outlook, right? This encompasses pretty much the whole threat area, which makes up your 15% risk here. Potential for 60 mile per hour wind gusts within 25 miles of a given location. That doesn't preclude stronger storms, but chances are it won't be any stronger than that with the greatest coverage in the slight risk area here. Moving on to tomorrow, let's go back here. We maintain some severe weather threats here, although small, back here in parts of western Texas, back to New Mexico now, right? And I'll go over what's driving this as part of my forecast. And up into the northeast and mid-Atlantic as well, you have a marginal risk of severe weather and a large area of thunderstorms spanning from Colorado all the way up into the northeast mid-Atlantic, parts of southern Florida, central Florida here, into Montana once again. Tornado threat is quite low, less than 2% tomorrow for all these areas, so that's good news right now. Hail threat, up to in the northern mode of this. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Maryland, Delaware, West Virginia, New Jersey, Kentucky, Massachusetts here. All, and I apologize when I hover over this. It does tower sites, but I had to make it this way so I could click on them if I wanted to use them. May take that off later, but anyway, 2-inch hail, 1-inch hail possible up in this area. Maybe 2-inch hail down here in southern Texas, parts of western Texas, into parts of New Mexico tomorrow. And also potential for a little bit smaller hail here as well. Wind risk, potential for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts anywhere in the marginal risk area tomorrow. Going into, let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday. Thursday, there's nothing on the books here. So how about that? That's pretty awesome that we don't have anything except for general thunderstorms here. And the southern portion of this area, it's very possible we could get another outlook severe somewhere in here as we get closer. And we have the thunderstorm potential up here in Montana as well. Now going back to the excessive rainfall look through Trough Z, which is around 8 a.m. Eastern. You see where it is. We showed you that earlier. Centered on the Kansas City area, a larger slight risk going from Oklahoma, Kansas, and our surrounding areas, St. Louis, the big cities here, up into Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, and Oklahoma. All right. Going to the rest of today, the threat for shifts for the south and east is today and tomorrow, with the biggest risk back here into parts of southwestern Texas here, southern Texas, up into parts of Colorado, Kansas, southern Nebraska, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and Delaware, and surrounding states here are all at a marginal risk of excessive rainfall, which means reaching flooding criteria within 25 miles, flash flooding criteria within 25 miles of a given location. All right, so this forecast is dependent on previous rainfall, right? So if the ground is soaked and your flash flooding guidance is a lot lower, especially in the central U.S., definitely would have a much better chance of excessive rainfall, making the flooding a lot more prevalent quicker here. Now going into, let's see, tomorrow's Wednesday into Thursday, right? A large flooding risk once again for the central U.S. here, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, areas where we're having flooding ongoing right now. Remember I just talked about that with the soil conditions being soaked here, especially in the central part of the U.S. Flooding criteria will be met very quickly here. So quite a large slight risk area here, 15% chance of reaching flash flood guidance within 25 miles of a given location, and a large marginal risk going all the way back towards Colorado, Nebraska, Missouri, Kentucky, North Carolina, Tennessee here, parts of northern Georgia, northern Alabama, Louisiana here, just a large area encompassing most of Texas here, right? 3/4 of it anyway. All of Kansas, all of Oklahoma, Arkansas, most of Louisiana here, and all of Tennessee also. So quite a wide area here. Going into Friday, having to remind myself what days I'm on here. We have a marginal risk back here in Oklahoma and Kansas of excessive rainfall, and a large area stretching from southern Texas all the way up into Pennsylvania. Marginal risk of flooding again. The threat continues here now into Friday, right? Parts of Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas once again, and parts of Tennessee, and up into Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and a little bit of the surrounding areas here. Marginal risk is excessive rainfall. So even though severe weather is going to be waning, we still got flooding concerns that we need to be mindful of in the coming days. So here's the mid-level flow pattern as we begin the period here. Now, let's go back, and you can see how our flow is moving to the south and the north here with a 500 millibar jet streak up here in the north, moving into Wisconsin, Michigan. This is today at 6 p.m., right? So that trough will lifting out to the north here, all right? And we're left with a broad southwesterly flow up in this area. And we have this trough digging back down here as well, right? So that's what's going to start bringing more weather back to this area. And you can see the model timeline 4 a.m. tomorrow, okay? This is the NAM 3 kilometer, all right? That trough is still lifting out to the northeast there. Broad southerly flow. Well, this trough is kind of digging down this way, you notice, right? And not really being very progressive at this point. High pressure and control here, which is going to bring hot weather down to the south, right? Northwesterly or westerly flow in this area. The flow continues here. And you see this mid-level low dipping to the south here, right? We're going to see what happens with that as we get towards the end of this run. See a jet streak on the back side of this. And this system up here is likely what's going to be contributing to the thunderstorm potential up here in Montana with a broad southerly flow from this way, continuing. So trough digging out west, broad southerly flow up to the northeast with this entrance region of the jet up here into Maine could contribute to severe weather potential on the 21st up here. We'll have to see if we get enough moisture up here, which I kind of doubt. Definitely have the kinematics in place, the wind energy. I don't want to see what happens with this trough. This jet streak as it moves through, right? So let's look at a longer range model here real quickly. All right, so model GFS 20th at 5 p.m. Eastern. All right, here we go. Loading. See that trough, base of the trough moving through the flow here in Colorado. In the 22nd here, kind of a prominent jet streak moving through here as well. Maybe some enhanced flow even down into Texas here. This trough is up here. I didn't draw that very well. And you have an extension of it down here as well into parts of Arizona and New Mexico. But you see this jet streak moving through the flow here, which could contribute to some severe weather. I would almost bet on it here. Kind of an interesting pattern, right? This is the 22nd, which is 3 days from now, 2 a.m. That flow moves through the central U.S. here in the parts of Kansas, Nebraska, and up into North Dakota here. All right, and this base of this trough, almost a cutoff portion of it, stays back to the south here. So let's look at the moisture real quickly associated with this. See the temperature and the dew point up here into this area where this base of this trough is moving through is in the 50s and 60s. But given that we have this vorticity maximum moving through here, we could get some severe weather in this area. So we'll have to keep an eye on this area. Other than that, into Colorado, things like that, pretty dew points in the 30s here, right? So not an extreme amount of moisture, but you can see the base of that trough moving through the flow here. Now overlay this with the dew points without the numbers, right? With the 500 millibar trough and move through time with this. Flattens out some. You see the main trough remains up here and a broad westerly flow for most of the continental US here, with the exception of in this area here. maybe a little jet streak back into here as well. So I have to be mindful of that, and maybe some enhancement of the flow down here and right along the eastern seaboard. This is getting into Saturday. All right. Sorry for the flashing on the screen, but that's just the way this is. That trough moves to the north and east here. We still got to monitor this area here also for severe weather if we get enough moisture up in here. Okay. And looks like another low below pressure down here in the Texas may bring more rainfall with some enhancement up here as well, and maybe along the eastern seaboard also. High pressure is building out here a little bit. You see another lobe of low pressure offshore here. Now what I'm going to do is play the rest of this out here, go through it real quickly. So this is a loop of the 500 millibar pattern, okay? So we're starting this off on the 20th, and you can see this running through, right? See at the end of this loop, you got a deep trough that's going to be developing as we get towards the end here. You see this base of this trough moving through up in the northwest, which could bring some heavy rainfall up here as we get towards the end of the period. We also have a trough that may develop out west here as well, a Baja low. So two different distinct features here. And along the eastern seaboard, let's just stop this real quick. All right, so let's go through time with this here towards the end of it. Then you have a trough down here, this deep, look at this intense jet streak moving the flow here. Also, another trough in the central U.S., enhanced flow from the southeast here. Let's see, in our area down here, we got high pressure and control still. But this could mean some beneficial rain for this area as well. Well, that's a review of the synoptic conditions over the coming days. And thankfully, severe weather won't be nearly as impactful as it has been. So, in review, for the next several days, we got flooding risk in different parts of the country. And then towards the end of the period, we could have some increased precip chances out to the west here. Depends how this trough evolves, and maybe some more impactful weather into Arizona and Mexico as well, and points out west. So keep advised on my channel for updates. I'll post updates as it's necessary and I have time. Appreciate y'all watching. God bless y'all. Have a great day. Stay safe out there.